Hey YouTube, last Ultra League team of the season, and this one is kind of fun. Armored Mewtwo. So I used it last season. I wanted to use it again this season. So Charizard, again, I think Charizard is, at this point, the best all-around Pokemon in Ultra League, if in my opinion. Just the wing attack buff, Dragon Claw to hit for Giratina, Blast Burn to hit for pretty much anything else. Obviously, you're going to get walled by like Tapu Finis and stuff like that, but otherwise, it's just like a beast in all neutral situations. Umbreon as a safe swap because you are, like I said, you're going to be still a bit weak to Giratina, and I needed some bulk in the middle, and then Armoured Mewtwo, which should just absorb as a sponge. So basically, it's like Charizard's kind of like Charizard Blast Burn, absorb on Umbreon, Charizard Blast Burn, absorb on Mewtwo. Plus Mewtwo has Dynamic Punch and Side Strike, which still, even though it's very defensive, can still hit decently hard. So let's get into these battles. We have Cress, which is, you would think, a great matchup because it can only throw resisted Moonblasts, right? The problem is, even from a Shadow Charizard, you're only doing like 50% because it is a beast. And these Moonblasts still chunk a little bit. Between the Side Strikes and Moonblast, like, it's basically only going to, I think it'll take maybe just a little over 2 to take you out. But it's still like a very not as amazing a matchup as it should be, considering that they are, like, I gotta shield this, or else I'm like in a probably Psycho Cut range. So I shield it, knowing that I'm gonna get to the Blast Burn first. The question is, can I now take this out with a Dragon Claw? I don't think I can. Non-stab, and Crest is just so tanky. Let's just get this out of here. So I get it out. I'll still have a bit of energy left over. We'll see who comes in. I think at this point you just stay in, throw the Claw. You have to, because Mewtwo, why Mewtwo is not amazing in this meta is because it's very limited against the meta. Yeah, right? Giratinas, you're going to kill there. Trevenant, Scrafty, Obstagoon, right? I come in here just because Umbreon has, so you're really, really tough against Darks in the back. So they obstruct me, which is fine, but even obstruct does quite a lot. Confusions are double resisted here. At best, I could throw Dynamic Punch, but even a 3 times super effective Dynamic Punch, as you're going to see here, right? Because 2 times weak. It's, yeah, I think 2 times a week because of dark and normal typing to fighting. Still, I don't even remember if it takes it out or if it's like just short. I think it's like just short. Yeah. So like pathetic, right? Like really pathetic that he can't even take that out. I get it's not stab and I get you're a defensive Pokemon. And Obstagoon is pretty tanky, but like, come on. But in the end, does not matter because I have the Umbreon to take the Giratina and what's left of the Obstagoon. So they come in here. I'm just going to bait because Blast Burn to a Shadow Charizard. It's not a Shadow Charizard. So, okay. That was great. A Blast Burn, a Shadow Charizard, Blast Burn on a Shadow Charizard basically almost one-shots it. So that was my thought process, that they would shield, except they are not a Shadow, so they did not shield, which is still okay. You take that Blast Burn on Umbreon. I can take a second Blast Burn on Umbreon because it's just, Umbreon's a tank. I've already got 1 shield. I think they end up double shielding. Yeah, because they're like, I cannot have the Charizard on the Machamp. Well, you are in for a rough surprise in the mere moment here when you get your Machamp on my Mewtwo. So, shield up Blast Burn. This thing is so spammy. Wing attack just makes it so spammy. Dragon Claw still does a ton of chip damage. We'll see what's in the back. It is a Pidgeot, so being already out of Blast Burn could put it to like 25% health-ish, maybe even less. Wing attack, Dragon Claw, goodbye. And now Confusion Mewtwo to just wipe up the Machamp. So the good news is you have like 2 answers for Trevenant in the front, because you gotta cover your Dark and Ghost weakness. For if you're running Mewtwo, you need to cover Dark and Ghost weakness, like a lot. So you Umbreon for the Ghost. Charizard does pretty well against most Darks in this, and then there's like Trevenant, stuff like that, right? So overall, pretty solid Pokemon to run with. These two to get Armored Mewtwo into this game here. Take it out. Still got a ton of health. Out comes the Ninetales. And again, I just got to stay in here. I will get a Blast Burn off. They're likely to shield and try and farm. Which if they do, I just need to... Oh, I was about to say, it's going to be close. Just let it go. I cannot get this on my Mewtwo, on my Umbreon, so I need to just come in here, Mewtwo. And the thing is, like, when you're up shields here in this situation, I don't know what you would have to have in the back for me to lose here. Because I still, like, a Scrafty or Umbreon, Scrafty or Obstagoon is tough, but you still have the Dynamic Punch, just a chip. A second Fairy, like, that's annoying. Double Fairy Team. Again, this will not take it out, but the good news is this should chip it low enough to put it in Last Resort range. Barely. I don't even think it's in Last Resort range, quite honestly. So that is the true defensive part of Armored Mewtwo. I have a shield, so I've got to use it. And the good news is Umbreon is so tanky that I'll live a ton of charms here. So I'll just get this out of here. But yeah, Armored Mewtwo is like, every time it throws a move, I know what it's used for. I know what it's used for. It's used to just absorb damage. The confusions do add up to a certain extent. But man, the Diamond Punch and Side Strike is so bad. And let me actually just look up stats just to give you guys a rough idea of its attack stats. Because every time I throw a charge move, I'm disappointed. So let's just go to battle. Let's go to Ultra League level 50. Let's just look at Umbreon, because Umbreon is a terrible, terrible attack stat product, right? Because 118 attack, but 214 defense. So just to give you an idea of what an Armored Mewtwo is like. So the defensive stat is very comparable, 212 versus 214. Way less stamina, 166 versus 194. So that's where it's a little glassier. And it does hit a bit harder, 132 compared to 118. Right, so it's pretty bad. And like, just to put in perspective, like Charizard, normal Charizard is 170 attack stat. And when you get into a Shadow Charizard, oh yeah, Shadow doesn't change the base attack stats, it just adds the bonus on top after. So 169 versus like 132. I'm just trying to think what else is like meta. Giratina Altered. So it hits about the same as Giratina Altered. And it's actually very interesting because their defense and stamina are just switched. So Giratina Altered is 132.8 attack and 132.7 for Mewtwo, so like the same. And then the inverse here, so Giratina Altered 167.5 defense, 211 stamina, and Mewtwo is 212 defense and 166 stamina. So it's basically just inverted. Interesting. I would like, if there's one thing I want to do, we'll see what goes on next season. I think next season, because I can see just like my views over the past week have dropped substantially, and it's not just my views, it's Pokemon Go in general. I can see it on like all the other content creators too. The views are down substantially. I want to, I think I'll still do teams and stuff, but I think I want to branch out and do two other things. One, I want to do more just like general battling video on like strategies and tips and tricks and stuff like that. Like analyzing these attacks, defense, and staminas for all these different Pokemon to like understand like what their main role is. I think that would be a good one. Fast move, timing. Like I know I need to do it better. So if I shoot a video on it, I probably will do it better. Optimize timing. I think that's a good video. Let me know in the comments below if you think of any other videos that you would like to see from that perspective of just like related to GBL, but not just like teams. Because I would definitely want to do just more of these like other ones. Because putting out teams every single day is kind of just whatever. that is basically it. I'll let these last couple battles play out. You get the idea of the team and the weakness of Mewtwo. And running into Little Cup tomorrow, I'm really nervous I will not hit Legend this season. I got up to 2950 like twice, maybe 3 times, and now I've dropped down substantially. It was a close. The last 2 days were the closest I've ever thought about the algorithm is true. I know it's not, but it is by far the closest I've ever got it. Because my buddy, I'm like, okay, I need a team on my factions. He's like, I'm at 3,300 with this team, and the team is Walrein, Amok, and Charizard. So I tried it. I went 3 and 2. The problem was like Amok and Walrein have problems with Cobalion, so you're double weak there, and your backline Amok and Charizard is going to be weak to Swampert, so it's there. So I'm like, you know what? I think that Tapu Fini is better instead of Walrein. So I had Walrein in, and they let a G-Fisk. So I changed it to Tapu Fini, and then the next game was a Skunk Tank on Tapu Fini. So I went back to Walrein, and I got hit with Cobalion, and then I switched back to Tapu Fini, and I got hit with a Drapion, and I'm just like, okay, this is I know it's a coincidence, but goddamn, this is the closest coincidence to an algorithm knowing my Pokemon that I've ever been a part of. So it just and I just like spiraled from there. So it dropped a lot, but we'll try and get it back. Honestly, I am going to just run Chinchou, Ducklet, and a third. And I think that third, I have to go through my Pokemon, is going to be some sort of Bulbasaur or some other grass Pokemon. Because I think that the grass Pokemon, even though they lose to Ducklet, are still, most of them can just stay in it. And like they're soft losses, right? Because you're still hitting for neutral. And then I expect to see Chinchou everywhere to deal with Ducklet. So I'm going to run that as like a hardest answer to that. So I think that's what I'm going to start with. I still think there are a bunch of other Pokemon that I think are good. Like I still want to try Seal, because I think Seal's good. Vulpix with Body Slam and Tackle, just neutral situation, seems okay. So I think those two are on my radar too. But I'm definitely just going to start with Ducklet and Chinchou and go from there and see how it goes with the third Pokemon. So honestly, you guys may get those two plus a third for like 4 days in a row. that combo, if it works. I expect it to work. I'm also just worried of like if it's just gonna be like lineup dependent. Because if I expect, what I do expect is like 90% of teams will run that combo. Because you have to. Because Ducklet beats basically everything. And Chinchou is the only answer to Ducklet. So it's going to be those two plus, I think, on almost every team. So at that point, it becomes a rock, paper, scissors matchup. Like order-wise. So I'm trying to figure out what is the best order. And that's why I kind of think that, like, I'm trying to think, like, what would be the best safe swap in this position. And I'm not sure what the best one is. I don't think Chinchou can be a safe swap, just because if you get hit with the grass as an electric Pokemon, electric and water, you're just like, you don't have anything. You can't throw anything for any sort of damage. So I think that's just like too hard of a punish. And then if they come in with grass and like load up on energy on your Chinchou, then you're still going to get, your Ducklet's still going to get hit pretty hard. So I don't think you can run with that as a safe swap. Can you run with Ducklet as a safe swap? Yes. I am wondering, let me just look up Little League. Ducklet and then Chinchou. What is it in the one shield? It has a bait. It has a bait bubble beam. Actually, it's not even a bait bubble beam. It's just straight bubble. Oh my goodness. This is a really, really, really rough matchup for Ducklet. Just going straight bubble beam. They spark, go Bubble Beam, you shield. Why are you throwing a Brave Bird there? No. And actually, let's Bubble Beam them back. Let me change this up. You're still probably getting destroyed. You are. So you Bubble Beam because everything's resisted. You can threaten the Brave Bird. How much does a Brave Bird do, actually? Let's go Shields down. Shields down, Brave Bird. They don't even say Brave Bird. Anyways, either way, you're getting killed here. At best, they're still going to be at 63 out of 111 health. Right? So that's a really, really, really bad matchup for Ducklet. But that's probably your only bad matchup. I'm thinking, and let me just see what would like a Bulbasaur even against Ducklet do. It's interesting. It's saying to run Aerial Ace on Ducklet. Does that what PV Poke has? Because that's what it's coming up in the simulation. It's saying run Ducklet with Aerial Ace. But no, this one's it's saying Bubble Beam here. I think Bubble Beam is better for your. Although you'd hit Super Effective on your grass. I don't know what the best move is. I think Bubble Beam is probably the best. But look at that. Bulbasaur with... I'm guessing that's a Seed Bomb bait and then landing a Power Whip. Yeah. It is. What if you just go straight Seed Bomb? You're probably going to lose. Barely. That is interesting. And this is why I think I'm running... Sorry, I'm just obviously talking now. But this is why I think I'm running Bulbasaur. Even matchup. Ducklet versus Bulbasaur. These are maximized. But... just going straight Seed Bomb and shielding up a Bubble Beam bait, you lose with like, and they land a Brave Bird, they're only left with 2 HP. So that's why I think Bulbasaur being able to like handle, I don't even know if I have a Bulbasaur built up. I'm so confident about Bulbasaur, but I don't even know if I have one under 500 CP. I think that is your best answer to Chinchou and Ducklet combo, which are going to be everywhere. So run those two plus Bulbasaur is probably what I'm going to start with. If I have Bulbasaur, I will let you know Thursday morning. Anyways, that is it. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate the thumbs up and comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.